before, fill that out. Send me a note afterward if you miss it. I have a little puppy on my lap, and she's kind of keeping this left arm from moving. And I am very much a person who talks with my hands, so this is going to be interesting. So doing my best. Okay, Chris, sounds like we're getting started. Unless we're still
talking. We're looking at 13 registrants, so okay, I think we're up to 10 right now. So maybe one more minute just to see if there's anybody else who can make it.
All right, well, while we're here, does anybody have anything in particular you wanted to learn about the WELL standard before we get into it? It's kind of a very quick, like, high order overview of what's in it. No? Okay.
We can get started.
Okay.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. There's a lot of familiar faces and some others that will become familiar by the end of today, I'm sure. This is the intro to WELL, including WELL version 2 with presenter Julia Farber. So just an introduction.
Okay.
And I see somebody else needs to be admitted. I got them. So this presentation is being given by the Connecticut Green Building Council. Our mission is to accelerate the healthy, resilient, equitable, and sustainable transformation of Connecticut's built environment. And we are really trying to be committed to transforming the way that buildings are designed, how they're constructed, operated, through numerous green certifications, including LEED, which most people associate us with, and we are somewhat associated with them, but we're also involved with Living Building and Passive House and the WELL standard as well. Some etiquette for this is this is being recorded. This will be available after, hopefully tomorrow on the website. There are also is a slide deck of the slides that will be shared at that point too. I'll monitor the chat box once we get into the presentation itself. So as you have questions, put them in there. And I know that Julia will be reaching out and pausing periodically to ask if there's questions. We'll get them then. And depending on how much time there is left, there can be some open discussion time.
We'll have plenty of open discussion time, and feel free to interrupt me as we go along, like I said. So.
That works. A couple of upcoming events. I did mention that there is an Emerging Professionals happy hour coming up on the 12th from 5 to 6 p.m. On the 24th, we have another one of our members, and he's actually now the vice chair of CTGBC. He will be giving, that's Kai Starn of Stephen Wynn Associates. He'll be giving a presentation on LEED version 4.1. He'll be reviewing the metric software ARC as well as the safety pilot credit. And then we have a conference coming up on March 25th and 26th. This is the NSBE conference. And I'll go over that in just a second. A few ongoing meetings that CTGBC does on a regular basis for people who are interested in becoming involved in some of the programming areas that we focus on. We have our monthly board meetings that are the second or third Monday of the month, depending on how it sits. Try to aim for around the 15th of the month. We have Advocacy Committee, which is on the third Friday of the month. Green Homes is on the second Thursday. And our outreach and engagement events meetings are on the first and third Fridays of the month. You can check out any of our meetings and other events, including some of our partner events on the calendar, ctgbc.org/calendar. So NSBE.net is where you can find all the details coming up for Power of Place. So climate action and justice in the built environment. This year, especially given this is a biannual event that is, I guess, co-hosted, co-promoted by Melissa Copps, who's on this call. And it's a fantastic event. This will be the third one. And the timing of the topics is couldn't be better in many respects because of how bad in so many ways things are. So really looking at climate issues, really looking at social justice issues, and it should be a fantastic event. CTGBC is a 501c3. We are a nonprofit organization, so we are supported by membership and sponsorship. If you are not a member, we definitely recommend looking into it and becoming a member. You can get complimentary or discounted admissions to different CTGBC events. We offer opportunities for professional development, such as earning CEUs, like you can for this one today, and also discounts for International Living Future. We are always interested in webinars and different events, white papers, blog posts. So as a member, you can contribute, you can be involved with that. You can also then run for the board of directors if you are interested in more of a leadership position. And of course, you can make an impact. You can get involved and you can be informed and informing. You can advocate for the sustainable built environment in Connecticut and hopefully beyond. So finally, learn, engage, make a difference, and join us. With that, I am going to stop sharing my screen and we will get Julia's slides up. Okay, I am going to turn off my camera for a few minutes and I will be available in the chat box for anybody who has questions. And take it away, Julia.
I couldn't figure out how to unmute for a second. Sorry about that. Okay, can you guys see the slide? Yeah? Okay, all right, welcome to today's session called An Introduction to WELL, where we're going to be focusing on WELL v2. My name is Julia Farber, and I work for Legrand as the Regional Solutions and Consultants Manager in the Northeast. This just means I work with end users. My background's in sustainability, and I've been working in the green building space for over 12 years. I'm also a member of the CTGBC board, and I'm a WELL Fellow and a LEAD AP and a WELL AP. So basically, you're all in good hands, and I just want to say thank you so much for taking your time to meet with me today. I'm really excited. This is a smaller crowd, and I want to make sure that you guys have a chance if you want to, raise your hand, stop me, slow me down, do whatever you need to. I am feeling very excited to present to you today, which is giving me a little bit of nervous energy, but there will be a couple breaks in between. I'm going to have some polling questions and also a little bit of light housekeeping. Before we get started, just make sure, again, you put your questions in. Chris will help, or honestly, we're small enough where you can just say, Julia, stop for a sec, I have a question. That's totally fine with me. This is a course that has GBCI, AIA, and IDCEC credit. So if you want to get your credit, you need to fill out the form. This is very important, the link that we sent in the chat. I need that to make a certificate for you. We will report to AIA and IDCEC on your behalf in the event that you have that accreditation. You have to report to GBCI, and I cannot tell you why, but this is just how IWBI is, and even though they're affiliated, I can't figure out. But you got to report to GBCI on your own. In the meantime, though, I will get you that certificate, and we're going to do slides as note slides at the end, and the webinar is recorded. There is a disclaimer in here real fast, just because there's a quick mention about COVID, where we talk about one of the WELL building certifications connecting to health and wellness, and just need to say the buildings do not themselves prevent or keep you from having COVID. So just leave that out there as a disclaimer. Okay, so today's agenda, we're going to talk a little bit about building the case for why WELL, and then we'll talk about like how is real estate and the built environment connected to wellness. We'll go through the WELL system, very high level, and then we'll talk about the value of better buildings and have a Q&A. By the end of the session, you're going to be able to identify environmental factors and influence human health and well-being, describe the structure of the WELL building standard, and explain the intent of the each WELL concept and identify key themes that underpin them. So first, we have a poll for you. I mean, I kind of know most of you, but it's still fun to fill out the poll. So we have a poll. Please tell me a little bit about yourselves. Which professional title best describes you? We're going to give you a little bit of time for that. And normally I sing the do 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 do. Okay, I think most of you responded. Oh, we're still getting some responses in. I don't know how polling works on Zoom, so when I end the polling, I want you to tell me if you can see it or not. All right, I'm ending the poll. Can you guys see the results? Okay, so it looks like we have a good mix of people, some engineers, some architects, some sustainability professionals. And who is an other amazing professional not mentioned? Would you unmute yourself and tell me what you do?
Yep, so that would be me. So I work for Finico and I handle business development for them. So what we are is a facility services company. We're here in Stamford, Connecticut, but we handle accounts all throughout the Northeast and then New York as well. We're GBAC certified and we were the first in our territory to get that accreditation. So yeah, that's why I'm here.
Thank you, Lisa. And does anyone else want to say hello to the group while we're doing things? You're not required to. All right, thank you. The poll should have stopped and is closed. You guys don't see the poll anymore. You see the slides, right? Okay, sorry, a lot of stuff going on. Okay, so first we're going to talk about global health trends. So we want to talk a little bit about definitions. As you'll note on the slide, we have the definitions of health, wellness, and well-being. So let's chat about them a little bit. What are you guys' thoughts on these definitions? You guys want to unmute, tell me, or write in the chat, and Chris will share your thoughts? We're basically talking about the differences. You know, health is a state of balance in the absence of illness, but wellness is the process of gaining awareness, and well-being actually requires knowledge that you've made a shift. Are these aligned with your guys' understanding? Somebody just say yes or no. I can only see half of your faces, so yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
And ultimately, we care about our health and the health of society for many reasons. Personally, we care about being in good health, even if we may not always do the right things. We care about the health of our society because we have programs and policies that impact our economic output. And a healthy society is ideally happier, lives longer, is more productive, and less burdened by disease overall. But how do we get to this desired state of well-being? Well, unfortunately, it's not necessarily just by going to the doctor because as you can see, there is a lot of factors that influence our overall health and well-being. And most people think health and well-being boils down to healthcare, but it's only one part of the equation. In fact, the US spends more on healthcare than any other developed nation at $9,500 per person. But our life expectancy is actually starting to dip as of 2 years ago. We're actually getting sick from non-communicable diseases like cancers and heart disease and obesity. And, you know, we're spending more on healthcare and it's just not solving the problem. We also know that lifestyle decisions like whether or not you smoke or drink heavily and what you eat and how active you are will also greatly influence your exposure pathways. So we can either lower or raise the possibility of contracting those non-communicable diseases. So we know, for instance, if you make certain choices, your risk of developing diabetes will go down. So what determines the state of health? So we're going to go back to the poll, and we have another poll for you. And I think, so my first time working the polls, so launch the poll. What factors influence health and well-being? Is it the physical, social environment, genetics, or all of the above? A couple more people still answering. All right, you guys, what do you think it is? I'm going to show the results. Everybody said all of the above, and everybody was right. You guys did great. Let's talk about it. We know that today our health is really based on more factors than just our genetics. Genetics are responsible for 10% of our overall state of health, and the majority of what influences our health and well-being is based on our physical and social environments in which we live and work. Meanwhile, social determinants of health are conditions in the environments in which people live, and where we work and where we learn and where we play. Social determinants include socioeconomic conditions, access to educational and job opportunities, exposure to crime and violence, and access to healthcare. By addressing social determinants of health, we can design spaces that promote health equity. And here's the statistics that most of you guys probably know and use in all of your presentations, which is that we spend almost 90% of our time indoors. And given the impact that the built environment has on humans, we have to start thinking about our buildings as a means of preventative care as well. And that's where the WELL standard comes in. So before I move to the next section, anyone have any questions about what they've seen, heard, surprised by any of the stats that you saw, anything like that? Chris, am I seeing anything in the chat? I can't see the chat.
I just wanted to say, I just saw a study recently that compared the top 5% of United States citizens versus average citizens in other developed countries in terms of health determinants, like their health outcomes. And actually, people who live in the like 5% highest income communities actually score lower than average citizens in other countries. I found that kind of sobering because I figured we know that average US citizens perform less, but we all thought like if you have the money to pay for like great healthcare in the US, then you're probably doing pretty well, but you're still not doing well. So anyway, I thought
that's kind of appalling, actually, Melissa, if you think about it, but it matches with what we just heard. Okay, any other comments or questions before we move on?
Nothing in the chat box.
Okay, cool. So much clicking around. Okay, so the WELL building standard is the first building certification of its kind that focuses solely on the health and wellness of the occupants. So it's using the building itself to change how a person feels about their health and wellness. The mission of WELL is universal, and it's to advance health in the places where we spend our lives. WELL is premised on a holistic view of health, that human health is not just a state of being free of disease, but it's also enjoying productive lives for which we derive our happiness and satisfaction. Now, WELL is now designed to work in any and all spaces. With the launch of WELL V2, it got expanded. It started in just commercial offices and spaces like that, but now it's going to cover all kinds of spaces like fire stations to warehouses, labs to hospitals, preschools to college dorms. So it's very, very flexible. So the second version of WELL officially debuted earlier, it says this year, but like last year in 2020. The first version of the WELL building standard, now referred to as V1, was developed through 7 years of research. Leading medical scientists and building industry practitioners were consulted in collaboration with prominent architects, engineers, designers, lighting specialists, consultants, designers, and other experts in the field. This team's findings were translated into performance-focused strategies for buildings, including their design, maintenance, and operations. And in the summer of last year, the IWBI, which is the organization that manages WELL, released a new health and wellness verification program specifically designed to harness public health lessons within the built environment to help people get back into buildings safely, given that we're in this time of coronavirus. We're going to touch briefly on that at the very end. Okay, so WELL is very focused on people. The standard itself went through extensive peer review process and can enhance the performance of buildings, impact the performance of people to drive business performance, and is grounded in an ever-growing body of research. WELL is comprehensive. They leverage design, policy, and operational strategies to improve human health and well-being in buildings and communities around the world. There are 10 WELL concepts that focus on environmental conditions such as acoustical quality or thermal comfort, as well as how the environment can promote healthy eating, physical activity, and cognitive health. The 10 concept categories are air, water, nourishment, light, movement, sound, thermal comfort, materials, community, and mind. WELL is an evidence-based platform, and it publicly references more than 190 specific external citations. The team behind WELL is committed to its continuous evolution, leveraging ongoing scientific research conducted by a variety of leading academic institutions. The end goal is to ensure that WELL's recommendations and strategies focus on impact and driving success. All right, any questions about that before we dive into the elements of the WELL standard? No, okay, moving on. Okay, so air. Did you guys know that there, according to the World Health Organization, about 12.7% of deaths globally could be prevented by improving air quality? This equates to about 600,000 children's lives under 5 that could be saved. And there's also emerging evidence that air pollution can disrupt human physical and cognitive development. So air is a big focus. The air concept aims to ensure high levels of indoor air quality across a building's lifetime through diverse strategies that include source elimination of reduction, active and passive building design, and operational strategies and human behavior interventions. The next one is water. As we all know, water is essential for life. So who has water with them? This is where we get a little bit interactive. Take your cup. By the way, I'm drinking out a very fancy wine glass, but it's just sparkling water. Take your cup. We're all going to take a sip of water because we all need water and everyone needs to be more hydrated. Ready? Go. Cheers, or whatever it is that you want to say. Okay. Nearly 2/3 of your human body is composed of water, so it is so essential that you get the water that you need. It's a major component of your cells and the dominant component of fluid between your cells. It's essential for our human life. And did you know that 663 million people still do not have access to improved water sources? The well water concept covers the quality, distribution, and control of liquid water in a building. It includes features that addresses the availability and contaminant thresholds of drinking water, as well as features targeting the management of water to avoid damage to building materials and the environmental conditions. Okay, so this is our next poll. So did you guys know that, fruits and vegetables, they're a critical part of your overall healthy eating? And I don't know about you, but during the coronavirus, I've been trying to get all my fruits and vegetables in, but we're all human, sometimes we're not. So we have a fun question, which is how many, be honest, servings you eat per day. And if you can't think of how many you eat per day, you just think of how many you had in the last 24 hours. That's fine. So fill out our poll. You guys are so good, by the way. So far, I'm watching a lot of people be honest and eating lots of vegetables. I've done this presentation for you guys this is like the most, I could say, private group that I've had. And I've done it for much, much larger, like 500 people. And people normally are on the I'm eating less vegetable side. And you guys are somewhere in the recommended daily limit plus more. So maybe that's because you work in this field, but good job, you guys. You're getting your fruits and vegetables in. And I personally had a huge salad yesterday. But I'll just point out I had a little bacon in it, so maybe, I don't know. So anyway, let's close those results. So consumptions of fruits and vegetables, it's key to a healthy diet and it prevents chronic disease. However, most individuals around the world don't meet the daily recommendation of, by the way, 5 servings. And WELL has a nourishment concept. And the nourishment concept requires the availability of fruits and vegetables and nutritional transparency and encourages the creation of food environments where the healthiest choice is the easiest choice. So there's a lot of really interesting interventions in this standard. The next section is light. Did you know that disruption or desynchronization of the circadian rhythm has been linked with obesity, diabetes, depression, and metabolic disorders? Or that exposure to bright light at night is associated with circadian phase disruption, which in turn can cause negative health effects such as breast cancer and metabolic and sleep disorders. You need the right light. So the WELL concept promotes exposure to light and aims to create lighting environments that are optimal for visual, mental, and biological health. Integrating daylight and electric light to create lighting strategies focused on human health, along with traditional requirements for visual acuity and comfort, can lead to a productive and more healthy environment. And I know that many of us are now working from home or working in an office environment or traveling behind us, but I would just love for you guys to just take yourselves off mute for a second and just tell, since many of you are experts in this area, I'm just curious, how are you guys making up for this lack of light? Are you sitting near windows? Are you still able to go into the office? Do you have lamps that are near you? How have you tried to get more? I know you all know lighting is important. So tell us 1 or 2 tips. Who wants to raise their hand and share what they've been doing?
Yeah, so I'll share. So I'm actually working remote, as I'm sure a lot of people are right now, and I have the convenience of having a window at my apartment that I can put just my workstation in front of. So having that has been wonderful through the day, just for that extra natural light, especially when you're looking at the computer majority of the day. And I also have one of these guys. It's an LED light. It's actually for seasonal depression, which I don't really have, but I do get, the blues a little bit. I'm a little less energetic, lethargic in the winter. So this is extremely helpful in the morning. And then at night, trying to put my phone away at a certain time so I don't, for many reasons, look at the phone, scroll, and also get that light I don't need at night when I'm trying to go to bed.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Those are great tips. That's so great. Yeah, Lisa, I always say that we're kind of like, we ourselves are like little plants, and like we need light, we need really beautiful daylight, we need the sun to be influencing us. Anyone else have anything else that they want to share? We're going to get into our stretch break in just a second. Okay. Thank you for sharing, Lisa. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course.
All right. So our next slide is about movement. So, it is widely understood that we really need to get more active. Data from 146 countries representing about 93% of the global population shows that a quarter of adults are not physically inactive. And this is a problem in part because our modern world really encourages sedentary behavior. And like sitting down or lying down for extended periods of time. And because it's important, and you're probably all sitting down right now, we are going to do our stretch break, and you are all going to get up, and I do have your cameras on, and I'm going to try to see all of your smiling faces, and we're going to do this fun exercise together, and we're literally going to get up and we're going to do a stretch. So I'm going to try to get all of you in front of me so I can see you. All right, so if you don't have your camera on, you don't have to turn it on, but boy, would I really like that. And I also have a secret. I have a puppy on my lap that half of you saw before we started this whole thing. So she's gonna get disrupted because we're gonna do the stretch break, and she's gonna stretch with us. So this is Sadie.
I see the puppy. Oh, I used to have a Sadie.
All right, so can you guys see me? We're gonna go back up, and Sadie, I'm gonna put you right here. You can come sit on me later. Okay, standing up. Everybody standing up, right? All right, this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna just shimmy a little bit. We're gonna shake because you gotta get your shoulders loose. I'm sure you've all been sitting for a little bit. Next, we're gonna roll our shoulders back. It's not gonna be, this will not be crazy. You can all do this. This is extensively easy. We're gonna roll our shoulders back. We're gonna do it 3 times. You're gonna roll your shoulders forward. And then we're gonna stretch our arms and our neck. So we're gonna do a stretch like this. And what you're gonna do, this is a good stretch if you guys have never done this, you're actually put your hand on your head. You're going to lightly tug at your neck, and you should get a nice stretch like right through here. If you've never done that before. If you needed to go deeper, you could actually put your arm behind you like this, and that'll get like all through in here. If you guys are in pain, so don't hurt yourself. All right, we'll stop that. We're going to go the other side. Put your arm down, stretch your neck. And again, if you need that extra stretch, just like move your arm behind your back. Okay, now we're going to do the one where you do a little bit stretching behind. So move your arms, clasp your hands behind your back. We're going to do a stretch like this. Stretch out your chest because we've been sitting for too long. And then we're going to do one more exercise. Ready? We're just going to pull our arms across like this. And to those of you, if you can't see me, I'm pulling one of my arms across my chest and then using the other one to kind of pull it up. All right, now we're going to shake it and then switch. Okay, and we're going to get back in our seats and continue the presentation. Sadie, do you want to sit back on my lap, or are you going to do what you're doing? Okay, we'll see if she starts barking, and then I'll have to run around and grab her. So hold on. My chair is stuck on my carpet. 1 second, guys. Did you guys enjoy your stretch break? Take another sip of water. Everyone happy? Are you mad that I made you do that? All right, so the WOW movement concept promotes active movement, physical activity, and active living, and it discourages sedentary behaviors through the environmental design and strategies and programs and policies. My head is cut off. Okay, the next section is thermal comfort. So who's ever been too hot or too cold in a space and they've been like totally distracted by it? Yes, I'm seeing hands all over the place. Me too, absolutely. Thermal comfort is actually ranked as one of the highest contributing factors influencing overall satisfaction in a building. It's really important to get it right, and it's really important to let people pick where they want to sit. So the WOW thermal comfort concept aims to promote human productivity and ensure a maximum level of thermal comfort among all building users through improved HVAC system design and control by meeting individual thermal preferences. Okay, next we have sound. So sound is also one of these things that has the ability to impact human health in a variety of different ways. And only in recent years has it really been determined that exposure to noise sources such as traffic and transportation have been shown to hinder health. For instance, sound in an enclosed space from sources like HVAC equipment, appliances, and other people around you has been shown to hinder productivity, focus, memory retention, and even mental arithmetic. Oh, this dog's gonna drive me crazy. I'm gonna have to go get her in a second. All right, so the sound section for WELL aims to bolster people's health and well-being through the identification and minification of acoustical comfort parameters that shape our experiences in the built environment. Our next section is mind. You know, over 30% of adults in their lifetime are going to experience mental health condition in their lifetime, and depression alone is the single greatest contributor to global disability. I also heard a presentation the other day that said that there are 34% of Americans are currently experiencing some sort of mental distress. And so if you are feeling this way, or the coronavirus pandemic has put you in any sort of sense of frustration, or you've had any loss or anything to that effect, I just want you to know that you're normal, and that, you know, I know at the beginning I shared a little bit that I was a little excited and a little anxious to do this, and I think it's totally normal to feel like you want to be around other people, and would love to open the floor and see if there's anyone who wants to share anything about this particular concept before we highlight what they're doing in mind. Does anyone need a virtual hug? I'll give you a virtual hug.
I do very much appreciate this as like an integrated part of dealing with the pandemic, because we are like usually 90% inside, right? We must be so much more inside now. We're not even commuting. So paying attention to mind and wellness is important.
That's great, Julia. Here, I'll give you your virtual hug. Here you go. Thank you for sharing that. So for the mind section, they promote mental health through policy, program, and design strategies that seek to address the diverse factors that influence cognitive and emotional well-being. In combination, these strategies have the potential to positively impact the short and long-term mental health and well-being of individuals of diverse backgrounds. The WELL community concept aims to support access to essential healthcare, workplace health promotion, and accommodations for new parents, while including an inclusive, integrated community through social equity, civic engagement, and accessible design. Community concept strategies address public health issues through a social determinants framework, focusing on social components that drive and shape health to form built environments that create a foundation for equitable, inclusive, and healthy environment. Next, we have the materials section, which aims to reduce human exposure to hazardous building material ingredients through the restriction or elimination of compounds or products known to be toxic, and to promote safer replacements. Yeah. So that's it. We just did it. All 10 WELL concepts: air, water, nourishment, light, movement, thermal comfort, sound, materials, mind, and community. Each concept is comprised of features with distinct health intents. Features are either preconditions, which are mandatory, or optimizations, very similar to LEAD, which provide optional pathways for project to determine achievement in WELL. Like I said, very similar to LEAD. So here's an example of a WELL feature. So if you were to go to wellcertified.com, which is the website, you could go look up the library of all of the credits and features available. They call them features in the WELL system. And so this is the first feature. It's called Fundamental Air Quality. And we just want to walk you through this slide real fast. You'll see an example of how the feature is laid out. It starts at the top with the concept, and then the feature and the feature number and the intent, which really goes through why they did it, an overview, and how the feature then aligns with the Global Burden of Disease database and the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which is up in the corner here. And then you'll get all the exact details of what they need for that particular feature. So similar to LEAD. WELL also launched a brand new scorecard with WELL V2, and they have a new online project management portal that project teams will use to register and manage their projects. It's really great, it's intuitive, and people like it. And of course, WELL works in conjunction with a range of green building rating systems around the globe to enhance building performance for human health and our environment. It's designed to be supportive of other building systems like LEED or LBC or even STARS or Fitwel. And they've done some crosswalks with Green Globes and BREEAM just to show you like how it could be used. All right, so there are 4 steps of getting certified under WELL. We start with assessing your project, building a customer scorecard, and designing your project checklist. Next, we'll implement the plan, achieving the feature requirements, and submitting a documentation for review. And this is where you actually go through a period called pre-certification, and you pre-certify your project to get an idea of where you're going to be. Next, you would then verify, and this phase actually lasts about a year. So basically, you go through and you're stating your intentions, then you actually have to test to make sure that you met all of the stated features, and then you would actually get to pass after you've passed the on-site tests and verify you're achieving optimal conditions, and then you would be able to earn your WELL certification at either silver, gold, or platinum. Once you've achieved certifications, it's important to monitor and maintain your project, and in this phase, you would use the performance dashboard to review your annual submissions and revisit goals and plan any improvements to foster a culture of health. And in 3 years, you would re-certify the project. All projects have a dedicated WELL coaching contact, and they're members of IWBI who will guide project administrators through the WELL process. Hold on, she's eating my carpet. I'm really sorry about this. I have to, 1 second. I'm very sorry. She's literally. Somebody says, love me or else. That's what's really going on here. So sorry about that, you guys. Okay, thank you for flowing with me in that process. WELL is also a performance-based system, and every WELL project is verified through on-site testing of building performance. WELL performance verification is a critical step in ensuring that WELL buildings are performing as intended, and is a combination of performance documentation and on-site performance testing. For WELL V2 projects, on-site performance tests can be carried out by the Green Business Certification, Inc., or a WELL performance testing organization that employs GBCI-trained WELL performance testing agents. GBCI manages the documentation review and issues a WELL report once performance verification is carried out. So here's our next poll. Did you guys catch that? What is a key differentiator of WELL? Is it extensive documentation? Is it that the sole focus is on design and construction? Is it that there's a performance verification phase, or that it's prescriptive with little flexibility for innovation or alternative strategies? Okay, Doc. Okay, Doc. Okay, guys, good guessing. Keep going. About half of you have responded. Okay, a little bit more time needed. Almost there, almost there. Closing the poll in 5, 4, 3. All right. So most of you said WELL performance verification, and that was the answer. Yay! You don't win anything because I don't have any prizes. I'm sorry, but thank you for playing. Okay. So WELL V2 operates on a points-based system similar to LEED, with a total of 100 points available to each project, or 110 total because there's 10 innovation points. All optimizations have maximum point values, and a point value of a feature is determined by its potential for impact. This is defined as the extent to which a feature addresses a specific health or wellness concern and the potential impact of its effective intervention. And I just want to make sure that's clear. Again, preconditions don't contribute any points. You have to meet them. There are 3 levels of WELL certification, and projects must achieve all those preconditions as well as the number of points to earn the different levels. Okay. All right, if you are a project owner or you guys are working on core and shell projects, there is a core certification that provides a distinct pathway of achievement for core and shell buildings. That actually gives you platinum, gold, silver, or bronze to get people to that lowest level if it's just core and shell. So that's just something to know. And just wanted to point out that there are a lot of projects that are now registered in the WELL system. We've got millions of square feet in 66 countries and 5,306 projects. This is from this morning. And there are 7,490 WELL APs currently with another 8,000 registered. So it's a big movement. It's been adopted in a lot of places and it's going to continue to grow. So we'd like to encourage you to join the movement, become a WELL AP. WELL APs advocate for human-centered design, lead WELL certification efforts, and transform company culture. And there's never been a better time to get educated. WELL is still running this special. This was from the end of 2020. They said they were going to end it at the end of 2020, and then they did not. This is still applicable. It's on their website right now. So if you did want to get certified, go through this process. They're also providing 8 hours of free training. The member team at IWBI also is how we're convening, celebrating, and collaborating with companies and organizations who are leading the movement. Legrand, who I work for, is a Keystone member of IWBI, so this is the organization level membership. Legrand, like I said, is a member, and we've considered how our products align with the WELL standard. We have a brochure that actually spells all that out. Typically, I have that available, but if you guys want it, let me know. I'll direct you to it. It's not part of today's session. All right, so that is that section. We're trucking all along. Does anyone have any questions about the last section on WELL? Chris, you seen anything? No. Sadie is asleep again. Great. Okay. So finally, we're really going to drive home. Mm-hmm. We're going to start driving home why other companies are investing in WELL. So the World Green Building Council report from 2014 indicates that in terms of operating costs, companies typically spend 1% on energy, 9% on rent, and 90% on their people because of salary and benefits. So many have started to think about investing in WELL as part of their investing in people process. On this slide, you'll see that companies who invest in their people also tend to have really great cultures, and they have highly engaged employees and great work, and more likely to have employees innovating, and they're less likely to have employees that experience burnout. Now, this whole coronavirus pandemic has created another very important and basic question about, can we really trust our spaces? What if you knew that the design, operation, and policy decisions about your building have been vetted for their potential health impact? Well, the WELL Building Standard enables us to apply buildings as a tool to help advance public health and allows people to better protect themselves in indoor environments. While implementation of WELL features cannot prevent a pandemic, remember, it can help reduce the risk of spreading infectious disease. And so WELL decided to create a task force over in March, and that group led to creating a brand new certification. And that task force created this new certification strategy that just got launched. I don't know if you guys noticed, but there was a big, there's a new campaign with Jennifer Lopez and Michael B. Jordan and a few other famous faces who are now trying to encourage people to take that new WELL. It's like a checklist route. It's not the full certification. It's a totally other thing. And it's called WELL Strategies in Action. I gotta get rid of this dog. Sorry. Okay. Does anyone have any questions about that? Because now we're just going to run through a bunch of examples of how WELL has come to life in buildings. Seeing none. Okay. So last section. Oops. All right. So CBRE invested in WELL, and they saw a return on their investment within a year. More than 80% of their employees believe their new office enabled them to be more productive. The ASID headquarters in Washington, D.C. also achieved WELL certification at the platinum level, and they indicate that they will recoup their investment in the first 5 years of a 10-year lease. This is a space in China that incorporates real-time continuous air quality monitoring of particulate matter, VOCs, and CO2. increased levels of fresh air exchange, non-toxic and non-off-gassing materials, and high-quality air filtration. Here is a space in London that uncovered that their main water quality did not meet World Health Organization limits, and new water filters were added to make sure those targets were achieved. This is a space that highlights an urban garden where supports several concepts. Teams are able to cultivate edible plants and raw honey, as well as fruits and vegetables in a fresh outdoor work pavilion. This space in Boston has tunable light and has driven very positive reactions from their staff, thanks in part to their higher ceilings, their dynamic tunable lighting system, and their daylight harvesting techniques. This space is Symantec's headquarters, and it has a hula hoop and jump rope wall with signage providing information about calories burned during each exercise. Symantec's employees like to stay fit, and they have reportedly appreciated this addition. Next, we have an example that uses creative sound absorbing surfaces and sound barriers to provide high levels of acoustic privacy. And a space here in California, which is the first WELL certified hotel, that showcases some of the biophilia and visual design used to bring the outdoors in. In this project, an internal atrium transformed into a biophilic wonderland, accentuated by a myriad of plants and voice-activated nature sounds. And then this is the Technion space that has selected products from manufacturers of product transparency documents like health product declarations that increase the understanding of the chemical makeup of the product choices in the space. So as you can see, there are many ways that the WELL certification standard has been used and interpreted to connect elevated experiences to the built environment. So thank you so much for your time. That's it. Now let's turn over to your questions. Let's chat. Anyone have any questions? Thank you.
So Julia, have you ever done a WELL certification for LeGrand?
No, but we've been evaluating it and I'm dying to do it. I really am. I'm really looking for any opportunity I can to get involved in one of these. I want to take a company through it. And with the new health and safety verification program, we are also evaluating if that's the right fit for us. It's a lower level entry that again is trying to, it gives you a label for the building to help people feel like you've done your due diligence to help bring people back into spaces. That's how they're positioning it, but it's not the full certification. So we're evaluating all kinds of things, but no, not yet. That's the short answer. Thanks, Melissa. Any other questions or?
Julie, I'm just curious about the move points. We just finished certifying our first building here, one of the first utilities in Fitwell, and doing 2 more buildings. But so for the move points, is it does it go above and beyond having a fitness center other than signage, or what's maybe just a little bit more description? I'm just curious.
Yeah, so Caroline, there's also some policies that connect to the out. So there's policies, there's a feature for policies, like what kind of things do you do to help encourage people to take gym classes and give them access to certain facilities. There's connection to the community. There's also incentives to try to get people to walk around a space outside to make sure that your place is well landscaped and that you want to take advantage of certain features in art and fountains. So they want to get people to walk and encourage movement around a space. There's also, like I said, these movement loops. Fitwell also has like encouraged to take the stairs, like that's the same sort of thing that's in there. Right. So Fitwell, I tend to think is definitely a little more straightforward. We want to get people up and moving, and then WELL takes a couple steps further, but they're overlapping pretty closely. I can send you to the website where you can take a look at all of it's all free, so you can check it out.
Yeah, I just put the information in the chat box, wellcertified.com. There's all kinds of information on there, which is fantastic.
Julia, do you need to complete a WELL project to become a WELL AP?
No, you do not. Nope. Okay. So have at it. I did not. I work for a manufacturer and I did not. No.
Okay.
I actually got my WELL AP though when I was working for a sustainability consultant, but that's a slightly separate thing, but still, yeah, no.
So you don't need to do that. Okay, that's great.
Julia, can you speak a little more about that pilot program and if it's been implemented, or is it still just in
Yeah, so the
pilot?
pilot program is really about community. It's a community level program. They are taking a couple of different neighborhoods through it right now. I don't know too much about it though, Tanya. I can get you details and send you more information on it though. But it's community based right now because well, V2 was in pilot for a while, but like I said, they took it out of pilot at the end of the year. So the only thing left in pilot is this community standard.
Okay, so the version 2 is more about the air quality and they turn that more into the COVID piece.
No, so that's actually a completely separate. So,
Oh, it is. Okay.
Yeah. So technically there's well V1, well V2,
Mhm.
fully comprehensive standards. With COVID, they had this task force created, and then they launched this health and safety verification mark. And that is a short checklist that I think if we go back in the slides.
So it's not in addition to the certification, it's in lieu
It's
of
in
it.
addition to the certification. It's a completely separate program that requires no 1 year verification. It's literally just documents that show that you have plans in place for contingency planning.
Okay, so it's kind of a condensed version, would you say?
One fast. It's not even condensed. It's best practices about cleaning, air quality, like giving people confidence that you've basically thought through work from home policies as well as like cleaning your spaces. That's kind of what it's focused on. And they're trying to get people in to the well ecosphere, and then you'll have kind of started on your way to getting some of the other features, but this doesn't give you any features. This is completely separate. It is not, there are 8 strategies. They're organized in 4 pillars: prevention, preparedness, recovery, resilience. And it's just totally separate. Yeah.
But it's a certification that you need to pay for. It's not just a, gotcha.
This is a for-profit other than
I know that, I know.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, is there a piece that WELL has looked at for equity, an equity strategy? Because it seems that it's very expensive to implement a lot of this verification and.
Yeah, they have a discount program for nonprofits. I think it's 50% off registration. And then there's like a volume discount for other, for like if you're doing multiple projects in a row. They have been thinking about this, and yes, they are giving discounts. They want people to think about this as an investment in your staff though. And that's kind of how they're approaching it, that it's about, the stat that I saw was it's about $100 per employee if you have like a medium-sized to large-sized company in terms of investment per. So they're going at it from that tactic. Like your people are gonna be better. They're gonna feel more productive. You're gonna keep them longer. So that's what they're doing.
Okay.
What
All right,
kind of projects typically go for WELL? Like what does it make sense for?
I didn't hear the first part of your question. Can you repeat that, Melissa?
What types of projects is it most, applicable to?
So again, when they broke it out for WELL V2, it's now for everything: arenas to fire stations, small spaces to fit. Like they're trying to size it so it's scalable. Thousands of projects registered in 2020, and a lot of them have now are like looking to adopt that health and safety thing. So we're seeing restaurants and hotels and commercial office spaces but like no one's in commercial office spaces right now. And so they were trying to pivot to, I think, as part of why they came out with this other standard, hospitals, malls. I think they had a couple malls. It's really, really popular in China and Australia, as well as here in the US. Those are the 3 biggest markets.
And version 2 is only the only route you can take right now?
Yeah, version 1 is closed.
It's okay.
Yep. Yeah, version 1 has been, it's not sunset, but it's not, you're not allowed to register for it anymore. You're in V2 if you come up through it now. It is a little different. There were 7 categories in V1 and now there's 10. Things have kind of moved and shifted versus got deleted, and they did think more thoughtfully. This is also a standard that modifies itself every quarter, which is a little frustrating. So there are addendums that you have to pay attention to, but like the full standard doesn't change until a new version comes out. So that's something that you can feel good about. So. but they are constantly taking comments, and you don't have to wait for feedback. Like, it's faster feedback than LEED.
I do see that they're looking.
Mm-hmm.
I do see they are updating the exam September 2021. So I believe the current exam is based on the version 1, and then going into September, they'll add those 3 areas in.
Yep.
Things are verified like at the end of the project.
Indoor air quality, you have to do testing for acoustic sound, like they're testing for reverberation. They're testing for, I mean, there's so much that they're testing for. They want you to prove continuous water quality. You're looking for coliforms. You're looking for, you're looking for consistency of the water quality. If there's water getting into any part of the building that you don't want it to be in, like they're looking for evidence that you have followed the ones that require that kind of documentation. That's what you've got to basically prove. It's mostly indoor air quality, water. A lot of the product stuff is done up front, so you don't have to do that. There's satisfaction surveys. What else is like ongoing performance verification? That's the type of thing that I can think of.
Are there like champion clients or champion building owners, facilities groups that have kind of come together to share information about stewarding and ensuring that the standard is upheld?
So in all of these examples that we were just running through, so it was like CBRE has really become an early adopter. Kilroy has a couple of well projects. Sarah, what's her face at Kilroy? What's her last name? Sarah Knapp, right? She said that her son moved into a well building in LA, like a certified residential building, and he used to have really bad asthma, and it's like gone away. Like that's the kind of power of this type of thing, though. So it's very important. Who else is signed on? CBRE, ASID. So yeah, there's been some really champions, Joanne. You could look on the website for that. We're almost at the top of the hour, though. So how many more? Do we have a lot of more questions? I could sit and chill if you guys want. I just want to wrap up the presentation for those who want to.
Just curious.
So,
this is popular in China. Is there a reset crosswalk?
not that I've seen.
What do you mean?
I haven't looked for that one specifically, so I'll have to do that.
What
They
is
have
that?
a lot.
It's an air quality standard that kind of came out of China, but it's available internationally. It's like an air quality monitoring and testing standard.
I don't recall seeing that. They're doing mostly the green building standards, but I don't know. They did do it with the Australian Green Star program. All right, so just our last couple slides here, just to shout out back to what Chris said at the very beginning, come to our next events. And then IWBI has a series of Places Matter free webinars in case you guys are interested in like what they've been doing around COVID. And that is it with all of my contact information. So like I said, I'm willing to stay and chat more if you guys want, but otherwise I thank you so much. And I hope you filled out that form. Otherwise I need that information to make your certificate. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Julia. Great presentation.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. That was great. Thank you.
Here's
no
the form
problem.
one more time.
Sorry for the puppy interruption. I didn't realize she would be so disruptive.
It's fine.
Was that a toy or was that her squeaking?
Oh, that's her toy. She has two squeaky toys.
Okay, well, thank you very much, everybody. We appreciate everybody coming on. Please look into cdgbc.org for more information about this organization. We love putting on content like this. We are now offering more free content for members, so please check that out. We offer professional membership for 1, 2, or 3 years. We also have a new emerging professionals category as well as a current student category.
Great. Thank you so much. Have a great night, everyone. I appreciate it.
Bye, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Good job.
Stop recording.